Hey, it's Ollie, and in this video I want to talk about how to go to a high level, how to reach a high level in a language. We're actually here in London, and unfortunately it's a typical English day, so you can't see anything. But there is actually a really nice view behind me of the whole of the Docklands, and we're here in Greenwich Park. Anyway, it's a very common question I get, people who are stuck at what's known as the intermediate plateau. So you get to an intermediate level in a language, and how do you push through and reach those higher levels? Well, for me, this whole question comes down to one thing, which is a saying, if you like, that is, what got you here won't get you there. And what I've always found is that to reach the higher levels in a language, you have to change things up, and you can't keep doing what you've been doing, because to get to an intermediate level in a language, you can do it through a number of ways. You can do it by studying textbooks, taking classes, in some languages, potentially just by speaking as well and getting used to the language. But beyond the intermediate level, you've really got to do one thing in particular, which is to start to integrate the language into your life and actually live it. Because at the early stages, a language can exist in textbooks and in your mind and in a kind of formulaic way. But getting to a high level isn't just about learning more verbs and more grammar. It's about actually living and breathing the language, because you have to be able to not just talk to people using the right words, but actually interact with them in a natural way. And this is how that's what really marks someone who's got a good command over a language. It's the fact that they can interact with people naturally, whether that's body language or just natural interactions with them, the kind of way that a native speaker might interact, the ability to understand everything or most of what's being said so that the conversation flows. All these things come from one thing in particular, which is kind of lived experience with the language. So if you are approaching this question of how to get to a higher level with a kind of study hat on, thinking, well, what's the kind of book that I need? How do I need to study differently? Yeah, that can help. But the bigger question, the more important question, is how can you start to integrate the language into your life? And so I would really be looking at, for example, are there any clubs or societies you can join where you can meet people who speak the language and who you can have an authentic relationship with? Are there books that you can read on the topic? Someone's coming. Are there books that you can read on the topic, topics that you're interested in, so that you can actually learn through the language rather than study the language as in and of itself? So look for ways to integrate the language into your life. Often a very good question is, think about the things that you enjoy doing in your language, in your mother tongue, and simply start doing them in the target language. If you make that switch, nothing's going to happen overnight, but what's going to happen is over time, the language is just going to start to bed down and become something that you live and you get used to, and that's going to lead to greater fluency and eventually help you reach those C1, C2 levels. Hope that helps, and I'll see you in another video.